setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
Welcome. You're listening to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Beautiful Thursday morning. Conversation today is going to be about California and rent control. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518. Or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And I'm back. So yesterday, the state of California legislature decided to go against the people in California. Now, there was a proposition called Proposition 10 that they floated out there and they voted on, that wanted rent control for the state of California. The people of California said, no, we do not want rent control. They said no. They voted it down. So the state legislature yesterday went into session and voted on a bill to do rent control in the state of California. Now, I'm assuming that this is going to be challenged in court because this is not what the people of California wanted. This is politicians of California who have created so much havoc for Californians in that state. They have increased gasoline taxes, they have increased property taxes, they have increased income taxes, they have increased environmental taxes, and the list goes on. Not only at the state level, but it also goes down to the county level and into the city level. Now, if you have an apartment building in Los Angeles, you are literally bombarded by the city of Los Angeles with so much rules and regulations that it's very difficult to own property in the city of Los Angeles anymore. And that's why if you look at Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, people are being forced out of those cities because of such high regulation. But for a state to go against their own citizens who said, no, we don't want rent control, and then do it, is not constitutional. It's not right. It's not legal. So once again, politicians in California feel that they know what's better for the lives of Californians than Californians do. That's why California is putting back onto their mandate for health insurance. They're putting that on their tax returns. They feel that they need to force their rules and their power needs against the citizens of California. Doesn't it sound just a little bit like Cuba? Cuba, who first started saying that, when they took on socialism and communism, that they were going to give all this free stuff. And now they can't even afford the free stuff anymore. It doesn't work. California is now giving away free education to those that are here illegally. They have sanctuary cities that say don't cooperate with the federal government on those that are here illegally or those who have criminal charges against them. Don't cooperate with them. So you have a Cuba operating in the United States. We have a state that's out of control. California politicians have taken their roles way too aggressively to destroy the lives of California. Now, I'm going to say this to you. In July, I moved out of the state of California just for this reason. I saw the handwriting on the wall of what's going to happen. And I remember on Easter sitting down with friends and clients at an Easter dinner, and they were talking about this very thing, and people would say, no, the legislature isn't going to go against the Californians. That was the whole subject. And the other side that was in that room said, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And sure enough, they did it. Politicians in California are very corrupt. They're corrupt for power. And that power is over citizens that are paying the taxes into that state. So we have people leaving the state of California. Why? Because politicians have destroyed the state. Los Angeles as a city has destroyed a city. San Francisco politicians, liberal socialist politicians, have destroyed the city where you can't even walk down the street without seeing human feces on the ground or needles on the ground. So, in July, I packed up my offices out of Burbank, California, moved them to Florida. Now, I was born in California. My history is in California. I love California. But I saw that politicians were taking over California and were destroying it. I have clients that own apartment buildings in West Hollywood. The city of Los Angeles and West Hollywood are pounding on them with more rules and regulations that they can hardly keep up with it. To own an apartment building in Los Angeles, you now have to become an attorney because you have to deal with the city of Los Angeles every single day on issues that they're trying to push forward. So it makes it very difficult to own property, rental property. Now, with the state mandate now through the state legislature, I don't know if it hasn't gone to the full Senate yet, and it hasn't gone to the governor's desk for signature yet. So maybe there's still a chance. But just to have the state House of Representatives in the Senate mulling over this new rules on housing and controlling rent. And the reason why rent is so high is because of them. It's very costly to have a rental property in the state of California. I have friends that are over in Arizona at the moment looking to move over there. Las Vegas is being bombarded with the real estate market is now becoming stable because Californians are moving over to Nevada. They're trying to get out of the state of California. Now, the individuals who are homeless remain in California. The individuals who are illegal are still in California. The low-income wages are still in California. But the middle class to the high income levels have said, okay, enough of this. We cannot no longer take what California is doing. So they're moving to friendlier states, what we call tax-friendly states. Nevada, Arizona, Florida. There's another state too. I can't remember what it is. There's another state, but they're South Carolina. South Carolina is also getting people from California. Because it is no longer a state that cares about its citizens. The more money that politicians have, the more they spend it on nonsense in California. If you look at the judicial system, it's rated the worst in all of the states. If you look at the opinions, and a good example, San Francisco, where a judge overthrew the case against that illegal alien who killed that girl in San Francisco. California legal system is out of control. So the question is, will you even get a fair trial? Or what kind of a trial will you even get? And the courts there are backed up. Totally backed up. That's why it's better to go into mediation and arbitration than it is to go into the courts, because you don't know what you're going to get. I have lost faith in the legal system in the state of California. So we're going to have to see what happens on this legislation of rent control, and if it's going to be challenged in court, because it was voted on by the state of California citizens that said, no, we do not want rent control. Gosh, when I read that yesterday, I was following Melissa Mendez, who is a state legislator in California, who got up onto the floor of the assembly and said, you know what, you guys are crazy. You guys are now trying to play God after all of the trouble that you have created in the state of California. And she's right. She is 100% right. But you know what bothers me most about this is that citizens in the state of California don't care. They never stand up, and nor do they fight for what's right. They will not stand up and have their voices known. These legislators should have been voted out years ago. They should not even be serving in a legal body that makes laws for the state of California, because they fail at it every single time. These guys make so much money off of lobbyists that that's where their minds are. It's a very corrupt political system that is in California at the moment. So we have Cuba now, Cuba-style government in California. We might as well call it Little Cuba, although I think it's bigger than Cuba. But can you understand? Now, I love California. I was born in Vista, California. And I have such ties to it because when I was born, I had to be put up for adoption. And I had really good adoptive parents that came and got me on Camp Pendleton. So my story evolves around California of a young soldier who got a girl pregnant, and instead of aborting me, they kept me and put me up for adoption. Thank God, at that point in time, California was quite conservative. We had very conservative government, but it's changed over time with the Democrats getting elected and put into office. It has changed. But my ties and my heart are still in California. Even though I'm now in Florida, I live in Florida, my business is now in Florida, my heart remains with the people in the state of California, and it always will, because that is where my life began. But to see it being run down into the ground by corrupt politicians who are so concerned about the power over the people, that I have to tell you, it sounds a lot like Cuba. And what really upsets me, 2 days ago, the Governor Gavin Newsom signed a new law that says disruptive children can no longer be sent out of class. They can't be sent home because they were disruptive. So that puts our teachers more at risk because they can't get those disruptive students now out of their classes. Do you know how evil that is to teachers? Teachers have a tough job, especially if you're in the inner city of Los Angeles and San Francisco. They have a very tough job. And if you have an unruly child who is part of a gang member, you just now increase the chances of violence against that teacher. Because she or he can no longer remove that child. So you understand why I'm concerned about California. California has become a socialist state that has started to destroy the lives of Californians. And why Kamala Harris is running for governor when she was the Attorney General and kept letting out prisoners, high violence prisoners, letting them out because the prisons were so full. So she let them out by the thousands full. And most of those are back in prison. Kamala Harris was a terrible Attorney General for the state of California. She destroyed the legal system in the state. Failure. She is a failure as an Attorney General. And those of you who are even considering her have got to look at the harm that she did to her own state. It's truly disgusting. It's evil with these California politicians. If any California politician is up for election as a presidential nominee, run as fast as you possibly can and vote against her or against them. Because they have harmed their state so greatly. Just think what they could do to a great nation as ours. I'm very sad. I'm very sad about California. The place where I was born has now become a place where I have had to move from. I have had to escape. I'm a refugee of California politics. If you have any questions or comments, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Notice I've kept my California number. Send me a text at 818-252-5682. And let's talk a little bit about this subject of California, Cuba. Talk with you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.